It's all you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Glen, Duncan, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Windows 8 line of operating systems. The original release of Windows 8 was met with a lot of controversy, but since moving up to Windows 8.1, there have been a lot of people who originally hated the thought of the operating system, but are now getting more lenient towards it. The release dates for the operating system are on August the 1st of 2012, Windows 8 itself was released to manufacturers, and then it was for sale for general use on October 26, 2012. Windows 8.1 was released as an update. It is the next operating system in the line of Windows 8 operating systems, but it was released for free because there was so much controversy and complications with Windows 8. So Microsoft released 8.1 for free to manufacturers. It was released on August 27th, 2013, and on October 17th, 2013, it was available for use, so you can get it off of the Microsoft Store that's built into Windows 8. And also, I'm going to be talking today about Windows Phone 8. And Windows Phone 8 was released on October 29th, 2012, and Windows Phone 8.1 was released April 14th, 2014, and it was Microsoft supported, like they started, supporting it on August the 3rd, 2014, and that was also when it was available as an update for your phones that previously had Windows Phone 8. I recently made the switch. Now there are different editions of Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. You have your just basic versions, which is for consumer use, which is just, there's really not any name like it. We're used to Home Premium and Home Basic and stuff like that. It's just Windows 8, 8.1. And then above that we have Pro, which when you get into Pro, you start getting into more advanced features, like I believe you can use BitLocker encryption, and whereas with Windows 8 you can't do that. But I believe with the Pro version you're also able to use Microsoft's own virtualization product called Client Hyper-V, which you're not able to use that for the regular edition of Windows 8. And then also Windows 8 and 8.1 Enterprise, which allows you to take advantage of the Windows to Go experience, where it is you can basically carry Windows around with you on a bootable flash drive, plug it in somewhere where you have access to your domain, because you do have to be running on a domain to do this. And then you could then load a work environment that was either very similar or identical to the one you're used to being at around the office. And this would even work on a zero client machine. And then one addition of Microsoft 8 Windows 8, which is sort of, I'm really iffy on it. I don't think I would do it. It was based on for use on the ARM processors. It's Windows RT and RT 8.1. You'll see this mainly on smaller devices like a tablet or possibly a phone, and then also some little netbooks that have the little Motorola processors. You'll see this on those. It is not able to sideload apps, which means you basically Windows Store. That's it. Basically, like if you had a non-jailbroken iPad, all you can do is what they let you do through the Microsoft Store. And the user interface. This Windows 8. It was really, one reason it was really controversial was they changed like how everything looked. We're used to, when you log into your computer, go straight to the desktop, you can hit the start button, and then you've got your start menu, and you can just go from there. But with Windows 8, they took that away and they added a start screen, which I'm going to show you later when I show you guys some things on the Windows 8. But it was released as Metro UI, but then they renamed it to Modern UI. And they actually, I heard somewhere that if they changed that from Metro to Modern, and that if you tried to release an app that had Metro in the name, that they would automatically block it. you'd have to change the name to something else before you would be able to release your developed app onto the Windows Store. And it does have a tile interface, which, one thing, the tile interface is pretty cool because you are able to have your live tiles and you can resize them, you can move them, you can pretty much, with Windows 8.1 you can do a lot with them, but with Windows 8 it was sort of annoying, but, and one thing about it is, Microsoft's aim was to have a cross-platform user interface, so that I could be on a Windows RT tablet and have the same or similar user experience as if I was on my Windows 8.1 laptop. Not only am I allowed to sync my desktop background, but also I can have other settings follow me as well, and with OneDrive that really comes in handy. You can have many things follow you. And Windows 8 does have some specific features that weren't really available in prior operating systems, like storage spaces. Now we no longer have to have a RAID controller to do a level 5 RAID. Level 5 RAID is the one that gives you parity. It offers some redundancy, whereas used to all we could do was striping and mirroring from within Windows. Also with Windows 8, you now have multiple logon options. You can choose to use a PIN, you can choose to use a password, or you can choose, one of my favorites, the picture password. Because all you have to do is remember, like, okay, I press here, I circle here, and I slide here. Also the syncing across devices. One thing I thought that was pretty cool is I actually bought an application for my Windows phone, and I was able to then, for no extra charge, install it on my laptop. And so it got me a pretty good game for less than what I thought I was going to have to pay for it. I thought I'd have to buy it twice, but also it has, to my knowledge, complete Windows 7 program compatibility. You may run into some issues, but there haven't been very many reported, because it's basically like they took Windows 7, like the base of it, and wrapped it in something else. Because if you look on the Windows 8 8.1 desktop, like Windows 8, you can tell pretty well because there's no start button. But with Windows 8.1, really it just looks like they took the start button and changed it, and then the rest looks like Windows 7 from the desktop view. One thing you can do is, we're all used to the desktop snapping, where you can take your applications and put one over here, one over here, and then you can just do whatever you want as far as that's concerned. But one thing that's nice now is that we can actually snap our desktop, like our full desktop, and I'll show you this later, to one side, and then have a Windows Store application running on the other side. And we can even resize these applications to fit our needs. You can have, I think the ratio is a third. Like you can run the Windows Store apps in thirds. You can have 1/3 of your screen, say, being your Facebook, another third of your screen being your Yahoo Messenger, if that's what you're into, and the other third you could have it be like TeamViewer, if you wanted that running. Or you can have like a Windows app, Windows Store app running in a third or a half, and have the rest be your desktop. So you could be running Google Chrome from your desktop environment while you're over here on Facebook on the Windows app environment. Also, one thing that I think is pretty cool is that we no longer have to install things like daemon tools to mount ISO images. It's now native within Windows 8.1. Well, Windows 8 and 8.1. Also, okay, show of hands. Who in here has ever had to run recovery on a machine and hated every second of it? Like having to restore a computer, go back to the factory image. It's horrible. But with Windows 8 and 8.1, we now have the built-in recovery options. It lets us refresh our PC, which one thing we can do with that is we can just go back to the operating system being the way it came out of the box. All of our files and settings and stuff would still be there. It'll just be like, say we had a corrupted file within our operating system and it was really hindering us. We could just go in there and put it back to the way it used to be when we got out of the box. Also, one thing you can do with that is destructive recovery. Like if you were going to sell it, this is one way they're going sort of like to where how cell phones, you know, you can go in there when you're about to sell a cell phone, take out your SD card and just wipe it. This is sort of what they're going for. Because like when you're going to sell a laptop now, you don't have to go through and reinstall the operating system with the product key. You just have to go in there and hit a button basically. Also, there were some controversial features with Windows 8. One of the main ones, and I know y'all have already heard it, is the start button was killed. Also, one thing a lot of people hate is the charms bar. Which, what the charms bar is it's this bar on the right-hand side of the computer where you can either, and I'll show you in a minute, you can either pull it out with your finger by swiping from right to left, or you can go up to the top right-hand corner of the screen with your mouse, but you can't see the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then I'll bring up the charms bar, which has different options, like there's a settings option, there's options to go to the start menu, like if for some reason you can't use your keyboard, but you can use a mouse or touch feature. And one thing a lot of people didn't like is it seemed like it was optimized for touch, and that made them think, well, they're trying to get rid of the PC as an architecture. They're trying to get rid of the computer. They want us all to have tablets. And what they're really trying to do is they're trying to move to where it doesn't matter what you're using, whatever you're using Windows on it. Also, they moved everything. So now it's like just constant hunting to find control panel. And especially with Windows 8, like not necessarily 8.1, but on 8, it took me forever to find out how to shut the darn thing off. Couldn't find a freaking button. But also, the App Store and the Microsoft account integration, a lot of people were like, okay, mainly the people who were complaining about this are the people who don't like Apple products or don't like having to fool with Apple products, because I'm just going to be honest, I hate using iTunes. My sister's got an iPod, but actually she gave it to me, and even then I hated using iTunes. It was just such a pain because it just seemed like it was slow no matter what I put it on. But a lot of people didn't like this, but it actually can be useful, the App Store and Microsoft account integration. Also, resource usage. Windows 8, when it was released to begin with, it did run pretty laggy for me. I mean, I had a pretty old system, but I also read reviews and a lot of people saying that they were having performance issues, and gaming on it wasn't the best experience. And now I have a small video to sort of showcase some of the apprehension about it, and really how easy that apprehension is to overcome if you let yourself. Now this is in a different language, but it's subtitled, but really you can get it even without the words.
Estaria interessado numa pequena demonstração. Sim, eu vou então chamar um colega. Só um minuto.
Posso ajudar? Quero ajudar? Então, explica lá. Então, primeiro carregávamos o suíte, é a password. Depois temos as mosaics dinâmicos, que nos permitem personalizar a nossa página inicial. Se quisermos fazer.
senhora é que faz a demonstração?
Eu é que faço a demonstração.
Que memória é que é preciso para correr este novo Windows?
Espera aí que eu vou chamar a minha colega que ela responde essa pergunta.
Boa tarde, disseram que
I really like that commercial because it really showcases, like you saw the guy at the beginning, he was really iffy about the operating system, but then it's basically the Geico approach. So easy a caveman can do it, so easy a little kid, like when you've got people over here saying how I've heard Mr. Hamilton say it, computers are hard. And you've got this 8-year-old showing them how to access their email, then they sort of change those things, maybe it's not the computer, it's the problem. But there were some definite improvements with Windows 8. Does anyone off the top of your head know what some of those improvements might have been? Well, one of the biggest things, which was one of the things people really raised Windows 8 for, was the start button was returned. So it's a little less hunting for everything, but also now there's a lot less because the start screen has a power button, where it always should have been. Also, one thing that was hard to find in Windows 8, and even 8.1 for me, I'm a really big hibernate person. When I leave a computer, I want it to be exactly the way it was when I shut it down when I go back to it. Especially, and with a laptop, I can't just leave it running because the battery will die. But now so you actually have to do a little hunting and pecking to find out how to enable the hibernate feature, but it is possible. Also, all open and pinned apps are available to be in the taskbar. Like with Windows 8, if something was running, like if you had an app running in the background, you had no idea it was open. It was just in the background, and you have to basically do the Alt-Tab or move your mouse to the top left-hand corner to be able to see where it was, or if it was even open. But now you've got them in the taskbar, and I can show you a little bit about that later. Now also you have one thing people really hated was, with Windows 8, it seemed like the start button was hidden when you were using Windows. Like it was always hidden, like you never could find it. Like there wasn't one. So if you were, say you were on your Windows, really in any application, you'd have no way without hitting the Windows key to get back to that start menu. Also, they brought back some classic right-click tile action because in Windows 8, whenever you were to right-click on an item on your start screen, it would bring this little bar up on the bottom that gave you your options instead of the classic drop-down right-click options menu. Also, with Windows 8.1, we have some more start screen organization. One of the things we're able to do is we're able to move tiles into specific groups, and then I'll show you later, we're able to then name those groups. Now I'm going to get a little bit into Windows Phone 8, which I'm also going to do a small demonstration on that here in a minute. Windows Phone 8 had some pretty good features, I think, because you were able to sync a lot of stuff via OneDrive, which is SkyDrive. They renamed it and they give you more storage. I think it's up to like, it's either 15 or 25 gigabytes of storage now. You are able to use the Microsoft Store for applications, and also you're able to then install this, buy the application once and install it on multiple platforms. Also, it also has the live tiles, which is pretty cool. Having a Windows 8 computer and having a Windows 8 phone, you sort of have a similar, it's not identical, you can't make it identical because there's no desktop on the phone. But it is very good to have like a similar environment to be using. Because I know like my family, my aunt used XP and she had an Android phone, and when she got the phone she was like, okay, what in the world is going on? She had no idea how to use it, so it's good to have a similar platform so you're not beating your head against the wall trying to figure stuff out. Also, one thing Windows Phone 8 has is the wallet. You are able to put, this could compromise your security and possibly financial stability at some point if you don't protect everything with a good password and if you don't change that password regularly. Because what it does is it basically syncs, it puts your credit or debit card or PayPal information into a wallet, which is then transferable over your many Windows 8, 8.1, Windows Phone 8 devices. And it's used in the Windows Store. Also, Kids Corner. If any of you ever have like little kids playing on your phone or whatever, maybe you don't want them accessing the internet, maybe you just want them to be able to do the little fun kid things you've got on your phone, then you could enable the Kids Corner. Also, they introduced, to begin with, Windows Phone 8 was not able to actually close applications like, how many of you have Androids? Or iPhone? Either one. With those, you were initially able to close applications from where you saw that they were running. Like on an iPhone, you double tap the home button. And on Android, I actually forget, it's been a while since I used Android, but now you're able to close the apps from the running app list on Windows Phone 8. And you do that by holding down the back key on the phone, and then you're able to just tap the X. But originally you weren't able to do that. And they didn't wait until Windows 8.1 to push that out. They pushed it out as a regular update. Also, you have voice texting, which you're able to do from the lock screen and the start screen. So you don't have to like unlock your phone in order to text somebody with your voice. You can just hold down what used to be the start key, hold down the start key for maybe 3 seconds, and then it gives you the prompt to do what you need to do. And Windows 8.1 definitely improved, Windows Phone 8.1 definitely improved some on Windows Phone 8. One thing it gave us is something that's been available in iOS for a little while, and that is VPN support. You can now connect to your workplace using your Windows Phone 8, or well, not Windows Phone 8, but Windows Phone 8.1. Also, one thing that I think is really cool, and Larry actually saw me freaking out about it. I don't even know where he is, but he saw me freaking out about it, and it's pretty cool. Screen projection. You can use a USB micro B cable to hook your computer to your phone, install an application for your computer, and then not only can you project your screen to your computer, and I'm going to show you this in a minute though, but you can also, if you have a touch-enabled computer, you can actually use your phone with your computer's screen. And you can do that via Wi-Fi on some newer models, but my phone is a little older, so I have to use the USB cable. Also, Cortana. I'll show you a little bit about Cortana real quick. Cortana is basically Microsoft's answer to Siri. And what she allows you to do, and I'm just going to switch to demonstration really quick, so you guys can actually sort of see it. This is my Windows 8 desktop, well, my Windows 8 laptop, and I'm using a picture password, and I think you guys should be able to see where I touch. You might not, but tap the first cat's head, tap the second cat's head, and then swipe along that cat's arm. And I'm going to change that after a while, but you launch the Project My Screen app, and then on your phone you're prompted, allow screen projection, yes. And so, I've already got permission from one of the students to text their phone using Cortana. Cortana, text Chris Neely.
Sure. Text Chris Neely. What would you like to say?
Hey Chris, how are you today?
Sure. You want to text Chris Neely. Hey Chris, how are you today? Send it. That or try again.
Send.
Okay. Sent.
That's one thing that I really got a kick out of, and you can do that before Cortana was released, but it's more interactive now. Which Cortana can also do things like set alarms for you. She can also, there's this new feature in Windows 8.1, if I can figure out where I put it. Oh, right under Cortana, that's good. Called quiet hours, and you can actually have Cortana set your quiet hours. Because what that does is it, say people are always texting you during class or always calling you during class and it gets annoying. You can set quiet hours, and you can actually have it to where your phone will receive them, but it will not notify you of them until after a certain point. And this isn't like airplane mode, because what airplane mode is, it cuts all connection from your phone. But say you want to be able to use the internet or want to be able to send outgoing text messages without being interrupted with an incoming text message or an incoming call, and be definitely good for lectures. But you could then use your phone regularly, you just wouldn't be notified of different things. Also, this hasn't been released yet, but it's going to be. The first update to Windows Phone 8.1 is going to give us start folders. It's actually already available on the update 1 developer preview, but I don't have access to that developer preview. Also, one thing a lot of you Android users, who here has an Android again? Who's heard of Swipe, the Swipe keyboard? I think I've seen Cody using it before. But do y'all know what, I know you know what Swipe is, but can you just tell us a little bit about Swipe?
Are you talking about where you just like swipe along the thing and it reads what you're trying to type out?
Yes, exactly. And now, on Windows Phone 8.1, we have that. It's called the Workflow keyboard. You can, basically it's like you never have to take your finger off the phone. You just draw out, and wherever your finger stops is a new letter. So if I wanted to write QWERTY, I would just take my finger along the Q until the Y, and then it would write QWERTY for me. Or, I think. I would have to stop in between each letter. But also, Wi-Fi sounds. It allows your phone to sort of determine when an open Wi-Fi hotspot is like a public domain hotspot, like the ones at McDonald's and the ones at Wendy's and different hospitals. It allows your phone to be able to tell that, and when it finds a public domain unsecured hotspot, it will connect to it in order to save your data. Now that could compromise your security, because what if someone has a honeypot set up just for that? Like they're trying to lure you in so that they can sort of fish your data, or just basically compromise your security in any way. Also, one thing we didn't have, we would have to install it from the Windows Store, was file managers. Like you guys have some of them native in Android. I don't know if iOS even has any, but it allows you to basically go into your SD card or your file system and delete any files that you may need to get rid of. Also, some more Windows 8.1, Windows Phone 8.1 improvements. a notification drag down menu, like Android's had this for a while and iOS has had it for a little while. But ours was sort of primitive. It wasn't interactive. It would just tell you things. Also, y'all had this for a while, but burst with your camera. You can now take pictures like right one after the other. And just like Google is the main thing for an Android phone, Bing is what's used by the Windows phone by default. And it actually reset it to Bing. I had it set to Google, but it reset it to Bing when I went to Windows Phone 8.1, and I haven't set it back yet, so I'm going to have to do that soon. But it has a more intuitive Internet Explorer. Like, we had tab browsing, but it was more of a hunt and peck thing. You had to know where to look for it, able to use it. Also, one thing that I thought was stupid that I didn't have already, because it is using Internet Explorer, is they didn't have in-private browsing. And you can't get Google Chrome for the Windows phone, so there was like nothing you could do to delete your history directly after you exit the window. Also, one thing that I thought was pretty cool is if you are a person with disabilities, Windows Narrator, or if you can't really see what's on the screen, it'll read to you what's on the phone. And now I'm going to go back to my demonstration. And I'm going to show you some of the unique features for Windows 8.1. Now, one thing about the Metro user interface. One second, let me make this full screen for you real quick. Like I've already said, one thing I like is with a touchscreen device, and even without a touchscreen device, you can use a picture password or a PIN or a regular password, and it allows you to then access your device like that. Let me just close out of it. Okay, all that forward. Let me just close out of that. And then one thing, it does use a tile interface, and you can actually change around the things on the tile interface. Like I have my games that I play right here. I've got like just things that pertain to this computer and the applications running on this computer, and I've got my internet communication. One thing I can do is if I want to get rid of those, I can right-click them from a mouse or key, like from a mouse, and I can unpin it from the start. I can resize the tiles, and I can also delete them. Which also from with a touch screen, you would just hold down on it, and then this little menu comes down here. You can unpin it. You can also right-click just on the start itself and click Name Groups in order to rename a group, in order to actually create a group. You would drag the tile out to where you want it by itself, and then you could right-click Name Groups, and then just name the group whatever you want it. And then that way, that offers a lot of organization, because believe me, within the next 2 weeks, this screen is going to be filled with tiles. I'm not going to know left and right. So it's good that I'll be able to actually know what things are. And one cool thing about this is you can set it to where your applications and your applications list, and even your like how it's laid out on your start, and even your desktop backgrounds, you can have all of that sync over OneDrive to each computer you log into with your Microsoft account ID. And another feature, I'm not really going to go into it, was the storage spaces, but the multiple log-on options. Like I said, I could use my picture password, or I could switch to my real password, which I don't plan to change that right now, so I'm not going to show you all that. But you can use your PIN, which I'm actually going to take that off after a while. And I'll log you in that way. Okay, snapping the desktop apps alongside the Windows apps. This is the game that I had downloaded that I was glad I didn't have to pay for twice. It's Holy War. It's a pretty cool game. But say I didn't want to just play Holy War. Say I wanted to play Holy War. Say I wanted to play Holy War while I was surfing the web using Google Chrome. I could take Google Chrome, snap it to the desktop. Well, I could actually have to run two applications from the desktop. So I can run Internet. Say I'm just really weird. I want to run both Internet Explorer and Google Chrome at the same time. I can do that. And I can snap them both to the desktop while having another app running, like a Microsoft Store app running over here. And say, I don't like how that looks. I can resize Holy War to take up half of the screen, which it averages the same. But, and one thing you can do is you can either grab right here with your mouse or use your finger and slide it away, but it's still there. And you can tell that by right here on my taskbar, it's still there. So one thing I can do is I can drag from the side, and I could either let go, release in order to leave it open, or open it rather, like open it full screen, or I can drag it downward, either with my finger or with a mouse, and it completely closes the application. Another thing, I'm not going to get into the ISO memory right now, but the start button is back. And one thing I like about that is when you hit the start button on your computer to go to the Windows Start screen, your taskbar stays here for a little bit if you decide, oh wait, I didn't need to do that. So it gives you a really quick option to go back to that. And say I wanted to go to the start screen really quickly. From any application, you can just move your mouse to the lower left-hand corner, click that. Power button. Start screen has a power button now, which I've actually enabled the option to hibernate it. Usually it would just say sleep, shut down, and restart. But you can go into your power options, and it's like in Windows 7 you have options that are grayed out. It won't let you choose it yet. You have to enable the option to choose it. And this is sort of like that. You have to actually enable it that way. Oh, y'all already saw the classic. Well, does anyone have any questions? Per se, I think I'm going to wrap it up real quick. I never know how long I'm talking, so I'd say it's probably been a good amount of time. Does anyone have any questions, suggestions, anything they'd like to know or see? Yes, sir?
Besides Windows 8.1, do they have any plans of a future update for 8 in the near future?
I believe right now development is actually going on for a Windows 9. I'm probably going to end up sticking with 8.1 just because I'm getting used to it now.
One thing I always had trouble with Windows 8 is how do you find the Windows Explorer?
Oh, well, as a default on your... it's actually default on your start screen. It's actually called this PC, one thing about that, if you have a touchscreen computer and then you start using a non-touchscreen computer, you will accidentally touch the screen. So you can hit this PC from your start menu and it'll bring up Explorer. It'll start out in my computer, which they changed it to this PC. Probably see the point in that. But also down here, like right now you see it because it's open. But you can actually tap that and it does the exact same thing. Also, I'm real big on run commands, so I'll just hit Windows R and I'll type it in anyway. I did that when I was on Windows 7 because I could. But any more questions or suggestions? All right. Well, that concludes my presentation. Let me just get back to the all right.